The Wheel of Life is a tool I've used with practically all of my clients. It covers many areas of life: finances, health, relationships, self-direction, leisure. And in this episode, I'm going to help you create your Wheel of Life, but I can't hear you, unfortunately. So whatever number you give, I'm going to give an example. Maybe you want to get pen and paper. When I start this exercise with a client, I do let them know that just say your first answer. Don't try to think, well, this is good, this is bad, because an example would be if I gave you a joke, you feel good, you're going to score yourself better than if you were depressed and feeling down. So just as in this moment, right here, right this second, just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't contemplate, don't think, just say. Let's look at the area of finances. With that being said, I'll say, what on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you score yourself on the finances? And they'll say, alright, 5. Down the middle, we'll say. So you give a little piece of slice to yourself there, am I right? Number 5. The next, career / purpose. Career and purpose, what would you score yourself? And let's say they say, I have 7. Alright. Now they want to go relationships. And relationships can be divided into intimate relationships, friendships, and also family relationships, of course. And if you want to score yourself, some people will say, 2. Right? So we got 7, 2, leisure / free time. How do you use your leisure and free time on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you give it? And I don't know what you're saying. Like I mentioned, I can't hear you, but let's say they say 4. Right? And the purpose will be, when we get to this, I'll show you how to set goals for this. I'll show you how to set systems, in fact, and how you can move up the scale on any of these. So self-direction, let's say this is around personality, confidence. This isn't one you normally see on a Wheel of Life. But the self-direction is your trajectory of yourself, how you feel. And it's not like, hey, what's your 5-year vision? But actually, what's your 5-year vision? Not do you feel good about your upcoming year. What is your plan for your 1 year? What's your plan for your 5 year? Do you feel like you're actually moving in your direction? Self-direction, self-motivated, personality, confidence is all in this, yourself. And let's say they say 5, down the middle. Health. Maybe they score themselves a 2 on a health. So if we look at this wheel, we've got a vastly different numbered wheel across the board, which is very normal, extremely normal. In fact, maybe have an 8 or a 9. Some people don't like to say anything. They need to get 8 in there, you know. They need to get an 8, and it's like, I don't want you to see my whole face. I don't want you to see my whole life, but it's completely fine. On this wheel, if I was to put this wheel, this blue wheel, on your car, how would your car drive? Be quite a bumpy ass ride. I mean, 5 and 7 there might be the biggest problem here. Yeah, that's interesting to think of if they're the biggest problem. So then I'll ask, which area do you want to look at? Which area do you want to grow? Or which area do you want to develop? And they'll say, you know, this and this area, health and relationships, that makes sense. Or they'll say, you know, finance, or they'll say leisure, free time. They'll say one of the areas and we'll go, okay, great. Let's look at that area. So let's say they say health. You're at a 2 in your health right now. Why aren't you a 1? You know, this hopefully gives them a little bit of gratitude. Hopefully gives them a little bit of an insight to go, you know, things could be worse. I could have lost an arm. I could be disabled. I could be in a place where I can't move, or I'm just unmotivated. So that's why I'm not a 1. I might even be harsh by saying I'm a 2. Now that I think about it, I could be a 4. So let's say they're a 2, and I say, okay, and it's great that you know that you're not a 1. That's brilliant. What does where do you want to get to? And they say 10. Of course, they're going to say 10. But I say, okay, where next? Or where in this year, or where in this quarter, where in this month, this week, do you think you could get to? And this has, by the way, this number 2 has a lot of habits, routines, thoughts, beliefs. This is a collection of what has been going on over the last period of time. I don't know how long it's been going on for. We could ask that question as well. But okay, let's say they say, I want to be an 8. So if they want to be an 8, then we proceed with that question. We write down, okay, health, and we go 8. 8 out of 10 looks like what? What does an 8 out of 10 look like? Well, an 8 out of 10 to me, to you, to this person is completely different across the board. An 8-2, I don't know who's the most famous influence, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, let's say, is a 10. If that's a 10, I wonder what his 8 out of 10 is. I wonder where he'd score himself, but he'd score himself differently to me, to you, to the neighbour, to whoever. So it's all subjective, clearly, but if they're at 2, they subjectively feel they're at 2. What's an 8? So I want to understand their mindset. I want to understand your mindset for what a 2 is, for what an 8 is, should I say. Let's say it's having a consistent diet where you're hitting a certain amount of protein, you're also training a certain amount of times a week, and you're also doing a hobby that engages you in terms of physically and health wise. So you've got physical and you've got diet in that category of things you're going to do. Great. So what are those things you're going to do then? So what is that hobby you're going to do? What is that meals you're going to prepare? What is that diet you're going to do? Where are you going to train? When are you going to train? How often? And what's your goals from it? Do you have a certain body fat percentage? Do you have a certain muscle mass percentage, bone density, water percentile? What is your metrics that you want to achieve from a 2 up to an 8? Now that might be a little bit of a stretch, but if they're committed, which most people will say they are committed, if they're committed, what's actionable this week at least? So maybe it's signing up for the gym. Maybe it's going to the shop and buying healthy meals. Maybe it's writing a journal of the meals you're eating, or maybe it's tracking your calories. That could be a 10 out of 10. For me, that's a bit too much. But an 8 out of 10 to a person could be there. Right? Let's look at a different area. Self-direction. This one's a little bit of an area that most people don't have with the wheel of life. Self-direction. They're at a 5. Self-direction, confidence, personality, trajectory of their life, trajectory of their self this year. Most people sit in a little bubble or cloud, and it's around this area. They go, oh, I feel good about my next 5 years. Yeah, feeling good. Some people don't, but I feel good. And because I feel good, that's all I have to do. I don't have to do anything else because I feel good about it. This is a trap. Clearly a trap. It's a honey pot. Feels nice and warm. It's like a jacuzzi. But then reality hits 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in. You're like, oh, that didn't go as... I'm a little bit behind in goals. And that's because they were in a lukewarm bath that kept them safe. Self-direction. What is your trajectory? What are your goals for this year? How clear are you on your goals? How committed are you on your goals? Are your goals quarterly goals now? Are they monthly goals? Are they weekly goals? Have you got someone to keep you accountable to those goals? And all of these types of things could be discussed in the self-direction area. I like that area. I like help in that area for me personally, but I also like helping people in that area. Let's say it's an 8. So this could be a 5. Like, just think of, you think you're at a 5, I think I'm at a 5, right? Or even if I say I'm at an 8 and you say you're at an 8. An 8 is, like, what's a 10? Is a 10 actually 2 ahead, or is a 10, like, way above what we're thinking? So what I'm saying there is, you really have to think, is a 10 out of 10 in self-direction where I am so disciplined, so routine, so structured, that every single thing I do is automated, basically? I mean, that doesn't sound like a really enjoyable life in many ways. For example, we look at health. Like, is everything, if a 10 out of 10, is that the ultimate where you're always eating healthy, always structuring your health, you're always having a diet plan, you're always having a gym plan, you're always working on something, you're at your physical peak? Is that a 10 out of 10? And we can say, yeah, it is, but is that realistic in many ways? We don't know. So we've got to kind of compromise, I think, somewhere along this journey. But you don't have to compromise on anything, and you can always push yourself for more. But don't just sit in a little warm bubble thinking that it's all good and it's I don't need to work on it, or I don't want to work on it. All of this could be worked on. Relationships could always be better. Leisure could always be better. Self-direction, health, finances, career can always be better. What's your purpose in your career? Do you feel like you can progress? Do you feel like you could move forward? Or is it basically just stagnant right now? So, these different areas, Wheel of Life, what a fantastic tool. I love using this with my clients. For you, get a pen and paper, draw out a wheel, use the same ones we have here, or search on YouTube, on Google or YouTube, you'll find more Wheels of Life. Again, this could be split into multiple sections. Business could be in here, finance could be in here, health/diet could be in here. This one would be spirituality, that can also be an aspect. So, what do you want from the Wheel of Life? Do you want to have clearer goals? Do you want to be unstuck? Do you want to have a vision for the future? Getting clear on what you do want out of the Wheel of Life, you will get the most out of the Wheel of Life. Just doing it for the sake of doing it isn't going to be helpful. You need to figure out where you are, and then what do you want to achieve, and then what does this actually look like. So I hope the Wheel of Life has helped you. If you want to have a free Wheel of Life call with me, click the link in the description. I love to do the Wheel of Life. It's a great exercise. I get practice, and I can also help you in some way, shape or form. With that being said, hope you liked the video. Click the subscribe button, of course, the like, and comment down below what type of video you'd like to see next. Maybe some other tool out there, and maybe you can introduce this into your life every quarter. See you. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.